This is the Rays POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Tampa Bay Rays, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Tampa Bay Rays POSTCAST, your spot for instant Rays reaction after every single game. My name is Jonathan Shields. Make sure you guys can follow me on Twitter at Johnny10Shields. As the regular season winds down, so does the Rays' chances for any kind of win. They've just really stumbled down the stretch, and it's human nature. Ever since the Rays found out they weren't making the playoffs, they have been bad. They've been bad since the Guardians series. Since the Guardians series, they have only won 6 games. That's since the end of August. So that's kind of in that month stretch. So yeah, not great. Not great from the Rays, but it's human nature to kind of let off the gas a little bit. And today it was kind of the same thing. How, same problems with Joe Boyle, walked a lot of guys all over the zone, got hit hard. And it's a tale of two different teams. A team that's a game away from winning a division title and being the number one seed in the American League, and a team that it looks like is going to have pretty good odds at getting the number one overall pick in the lottery, and which is tough. And it is maybe I'm biased, but I think the Rays might be the best 77 win team ever. I just really think that they have been better than their record shows. Not recently, but over a course of the 162 games. And the last game of the year is tomorrow. Just kind of crazy to say. Crazy to say. So, but we will talk about this game first, and we'll talk about how the offense really just didn't show a ton of life.
This is what you'll be talking about.
So the Rays end up with 7 hits, the same amount as the Blue Jays, but a lot of those were singles. 2 infield singles by Junior. Yandy had a single. Nick Fortes had a single. A lot of infield singles, and the Rays had 4 infield singles today. And obviously the home run by Aranda and Chandler Simpson's double, but just not a lot of those hits stacking together. And it's a little bit concerning because Chandler Simpson, Yandy Diaz, Brand Lau, and I know Yandy went out early for Seymour. And I don't know if Yandy will play tomorrow because he's exactly at 300, so I think you might want to preserve that. But Chandler Simpson, Yandy Diaz, Brand Lau, Junior Caminero, Jonathan Aranda, that's going to be your first 5 against the righty on opening day. When Sonny Gray starts on opening day for the Cardinals next year against the Rays, that's going to be the first 5 in the lineup. So that's a little bit concerning that they weren't great, didn't produce a ton of runs, but I mean, Jonathan Aranda continues just a professional hitter, man. He was so fun to watch, continues to be so fun to watch. And then, I'm really curious about what the lineup's going to look like tomorrow for the last game of the year. I'll be surprised if we see Yandy just because, like I said, he's right at 300. I think he's going to want to keep that 300 at least, kind of high wood. But, I assume you'd still see Brand Lau, Josh Lowe. Maybe we see a Tristan Gray get thrown in, or maybe they just go, Bob Seymour, Carson Williams, Tristan Gray, Hunter Fiducia, just to kind of, not the backups, quote unquote, but Christopher Morel, and play the young guys. That's the right word for it. Play the young guys. Brandon Lau won't play. Yandy won't play. Junior will play because he's going for the record. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting what that lineup looks like tomorrow. But this could have been the last time we saw Yandy in 2025. Could have been the last time we saw Brandon Lau in 2025. But we'll see what the Rays do tomorrow on the last day. Maybe those guys want to play. It's the last time they're gonna play in a game for right around 6 months. So I'd assume that they would want to play a little bit, but it's gonna be interesting to see. We get that lineup notification one more time from, if you have the MLB app, one more time tomorrow. So 3:00 game tomorrow, and it's just crazy that after all this time, this is the last game. But let's talk about Joe Boyle, and it's kind of the same situation. It's the walks for him. He walked the first batter, and then you see the walks come back to bite him in the second inning. It was a walk and a single, and then you get the 2 outs, and then you allow 3 runs after those 2 outs. And again, the walk eventually comes around to score in that inning. And then in the 4th inning, it doesn't hurt him. And then in the 5th inning, he allowed his 2 other runs. And so, the other thing the walks do, not only does it hurt you because, major league hitters are the best hitters in the world, obviously, it makes you throw more pitches. And Joe Boyle over 5 innings threw 92 pitches and only 55 for strikes. So not great from him. But again, one of the biggest conversations is who's going to be the 5th starter for the Rays next year. If I were a gambling man, I would go to FanDuel, sponsor of the show. And if they had a bet on this, and I would bet on Ian Seymour to be that fifth starter. Me personally, but I don't know what they're gonna end up doing tomorrow with that. But yeah, Joe Boyle, just the inconsistencies continue to kind of show with him, and it's walking guys, it's being wild, and all of a sudden he looks really good, right? And it's just hopefully the Rays can channel in that really good, and we see more of that in 2026 because all the talent's there, man. He's fun to watch, and you can tell. Look, he got roughed up. He was really good. He was elite for the beginning of the year, and then he got roughed up. I mean, people were talking about Joe Boyle as the ace of this team, and we're gonna go through his game log. Joe Boyle gave up 7 runs over his first 22 and a third innings. Over the next 14 innings, he gave up 15. So, he was really good for his first 5 starts. And then from then on, he was shaky. And then, he had that one start against the Blue Jays last homestand where he was really good. And then you see it today again, he was shaky. So if you channel in that really good, again, you're not going to be really good for 32 starts, fingers crossed, a year, 31 starts, however many starts a fully healthy season is. But if you're really good for 20 of those starts, that's kind of what the Rays are looking for. And Joe Boyle, his stuff is just so electric and it's there and you see it, but you gotta limit the walks, you gotta limit those long counts, and you gotta channel in those 3 pitches, the slider, the splitter, and the fastball, especially the fastball, heavy fastball guy. But again, I like to play this game of let's go look at the Rays stats wise. And we talked about it yesterday. I think the Rays have a really good core that's going to keep that's going to keep them around. But out of the guys that had the most at bats this year, Junior's going to hit 600 at bats. He just had a great year, man. A 4.5 win season for Junior. He's going to play 154 games. That's spectacular. So Junior, Yandy, Brand Loud, Chandler Simpson are all going to be everyday guys next year. Jake Mangum is where it starts. Like, he has 400 at bats this year. Is he going to be an everyday guy next year? I really like Jake Mangum, but I don't know if you can continue starting Chandler and Jake Mangum in outfield. And then Josh Lowe. I think Josh Lowe is going to be a platoon guy. I think he's going to play against righties, not against lefties. I mean, just not a great year from Josh. Jonathan Aranda is going to play every day. It doesn't matter against who. And then you go to this stretch of Taylor Walls, Christopher Morel, Cameron Meisner, Carson Williams, Nick Fortes, Hunter Fiducia, Bob Seymour, Tristan Gray, Everson Pereira. How many of these guys are even on the roster next year? That's kind of what I'm kind of looking for going into next year and into December when MLB free agency really picks up is, what guys are we looking at? Like, is Carson Williams going to be a shortstop next year? I would not roll out Carson Williams as starting shortstop in 2026. I think he needs at least another half year in the minors. He's just not ready. It's good, like Gary suggested, to get this taste like Junior did the year before he came up. But yeah, I still think he's probably about around a half year away. The gloves MLB ready. I don't think the bat is. And I don't know if you can handle someone hitting 160, 170, 180 and just not having a ton of production elsewhere. But we'll talk about how this tailed 2 teams in the last game tomorrow, and we'll get to our turning point in this game right after this. This episode is brought to you by Rougiet. Guys, you've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis. Maybe you've even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond the usual pill, it's time to meet Rougiet Go Long. It isn't just another ED pill. It's a total game changer for confidence. The effects can last up to 36 hours. That's confidence all day, all night, and even into the next day. Ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom? Head to rugiet.com and use promo code LOCKDOWNMLB for 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com, promo code LOCKDOWNMLB. Make sure you use the code so you know that we sent you. This episode, and we talked about them a little bit earlier, is brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season's here. FanDuel is making sure you're ready for a kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can match just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets used across the app. And FanDuel is the best because it fits however you like to bet. Player props, building a same-game parlay, or even jumping in live on the action as it unfolds. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. Again, if you guys are on the live, please make sure to leave a like and comment as we were wrapping up. We just have 1.5 shows left, basically. But we talked about Joe Boyle, but let's get to the turning point of this game.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
It's that second inning we talked about it. He got the 2 outs and then gave up 3 runs after getting the 2 outs, right? He got himself into trouble, almost got himself out of it. But the Blue Jays are a good team, man, and they managed to get themselves out of it. I want to ask you guys, for everyone that's watching, whether it's the replay, whether you're listening on audio, I guess if you're listening on audio, you can't really comment. If you're watching live, who's your favorite to come out of the American League? Because I have no idea. It could be anybody's game coming out of the American League, man. I don't know who's the favorite. The Blue Jays are probably going to end up being the 1 seed unless they lose tomorrow and the Yankees win. But the Boston is really good. I look for guys with pitching. Pitching wins in the playoffs, and who has the best kind of set of starters. And I don't know if Toronto has that. I think Boston has that. I think Detroit has that if they get in, but I really despise their offense, so I don't really envision them going far. You need the right mix, but I think if your offense is better than your pitching, then you're not going to go far. It needs to go pitching, but then the offense is right here, right below it. So, like I said, I think Boston kind of fits that mold. I think Seattle definitely fits that mold for sure. And a lot of teams, American League and National League stacked. I would be borderline shocked if a National League team did not win the World Series, if I'm being completely honest with you. Just from the Phillies, the Dodgers, the Padres, the Cubs, the Brewers. I mean, that's 5 teams I think would be favored to come out of the American League if they were to come over and switch conferences. Which maybe that's a little bit of a hot take, but yeah. This game was really just a tale of the 2 teams, man. The Rays who are at 77 wins, just waiting for the season to end, and the Blue Jays who are kind of prepping for a big end of the season run. So tomorrow it's going to be Ian Seymour taking the mound for the Rays, who's really had a great rookie season, 4-2 with a 2.8 ERA. He did pitch against the Blue Jays. He did. He went 7 innings, 4 hits, 1 run, and a win. His 4th win of the year. Obviously, came out of the bullpen, got roughed up a little bit, but he's going up against Kevin Gausman, who has been really good for a long time, man. We've talked about before. He was with Baltimore for a really long time, and then with the Giants, came over the Blue Jays, his 4th year in Toronto, and he pitched against the Rays and that loss and gave up 6 hits over 6 innings, just 1 run. He's been really good for a really long time, man. Earlier this year against the Rays, he gave up 10 hits. So the Rays have gotten a lot of success off him. Let's hope the Rays can end the season strong one last time. As we go to the comments, we'll go to Gary first. He says, very disappointed. Would have expected more of an offensive output against a rookie starter. Trey Yusevich, who has very little MLB experience pitching in high-pressure games. I have to give him credit. He's been really good for 2 starts against the Rays now. I mean, there's nothing there's nothing bad to say about Trey Yusevich. He has a really funky release point. And yeah, I think that his stuff's really good. As we go to Gary, he says, hopefully the Rays win tomorrow. I'd rather not have the Jays celebrate the division title with a victory over the Rays. Doesn't matter that much, but I'd rather be because of a Yankees loss. Yeah, it's just the Rays didn't win the last game of the season last year. It's just, I don't know. It's just a mental thing, right? You like to think fondly on what's been a chaotic 2025 season, end it with a win. I think every team wants to go in the offseason with a win. As we go to Mike, says, this seems like the most of the year the Rays have struggled with swing, strike discipline, something to work on next year. The thing that concerns me about next year is the Rays last year, 2024, was really bad with runners in scoring position. This year, they were basically a lead at it. So I don't know if that translates into next year. And yeah, that's something that I'm a little bit concerned with from kind of a broad view of kind of going forward. So as we go to Gary, he says, what are your thoughts on having wild card tiebreakers decide the season series based on an opposing way it used to be done, elimination game on Monday after the season? I hate it. I loved game 163. I love that. Obviously, the Rays, one of my core Rays baseball memories is David Price going into Texas and winning that game 163. And then the Rays went to Cleveland, eventually winning that wild card series. So I don't like the tiebreaker. I get why they do it. Trust me, I do. But yeah, I don't love it. As we go to Argenus, who's back, and he says more of a Bulls and a Rays lineup perhaps for tomorrow. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what they do with that. Might see a little Durham Bulls action there. Let's go to Mike. Says, who is my pick to come out of the American League? And we'll talk more about this tomorrow, but I'll give you guys my preliminary thoughts. So who's in the playoffs right now in the American League? The Blue Jays, the Yankees, the Mariners, the Red Sox, and then two of the Guardians, Tigers, and Astros will be. I think it's going to be the Guardians and the Tigers. If the Tigers, they're up right now on Boston. If they hold that lead, they'll be in. I think Cleveland's magic number is low around there too. So right away, I don't think Cleveland is going to make it in the ALCS last year. If you were, kind of gun to my head, who's going to win it? I would probably lean Seattle. I mean, I just really love their pitching. I really, really love it. Pitching wins. That's why I like the Yankees too, with the combination of Fried and Rodon. And if they had Garrett Cole this year, I think I would pick them again. But they don't have Garrett Cole. He's been out for the year. So yeah, I think the American League is literally at anybody's race. And so we'll see as we go to Arsenal, who says, who do you think will win the World Series? It's a great question. Definitely someone from the National League. If I had to pick right now, I think I would go Phillies. It just feels like their year. This is kind of the last year of this core. Schwarber's a free agent. Obviously, Zach Wheeler's still going through. He's going through, continued prayers to him. But it just seems like their year. It really does. The Dodgers, I don't love their bullpen. The Cubs, I don't love their starting pitching. The Padres don't hit enough home runs. I just don't love. I don't know if the Padres have that depth in the rotation needed. And then the Brewers, man, I don't know. The Brewers are gonna have to prove it to me. That's crazy because they've been the best team in baseball this year, but they're just gonna have to prove it to me that they can go win a series against the Phillies, right? They can go win a 7-game series against the Dodgers. And I get that they've won season series, but it's just different when you get to the playoffs. It just really is different. And the Phillies and Dodgers both have that experience. So one of those two would be my pick to win the World Series. And I like a little diversity. It's hard to go back to back, so that's why I lean with the Phillies. So yeah. As we go to Gary, says only one more day to go. Going to miss these postcasts. I'm going to miss all of you joining. It's been a great year, guys. Great first year of the postcast, but we'll be right back when the season starts back again next year. And the postcast isn't much without you guys. You guys are the ones that make it go. And like expected, the views haven't been where they've been since the Rays have been bad, but you guys continue to come out, and it says a lot about you guys as fans and as supporters. You guys keep coming out in the middle of a college football Saturday to come join live after the Rays' 84th loss of the year. So it really speaks to you guys, and I appreciate all you guys. And on that note, we'll end the second to last Rays postcast of the year. One more to go tomorrow afternoon. Again, game starts at 3. We'll be over around the same time. So again, I implore, if you guys are watching the replay, please come join live. It will be a very great postcast. I see one more question coming from Arton Young. Again, he says, do you think the Rays will move after the contract with the stadium? If it means move the team out of Tampa, no. They're going to stay with the new ownership, but I do think the Tampa is going to end up in the Tampa. The stadium is going to end up on the Tampa side. But again, I appreciate all you guys joining. Make sure to join tomorrow. And until then, I guess, raise up, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.